Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're here and we're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. I want to thank you for all of your patience. For those of you that are watching live, for everyone watching this later on the replay, you have no idea the hour-long struggle that it's been to get to go live. So we obviously must have an amazing,
That's how you started
spectacular
out like about a half an hour ago.
show. It still must be the truth.
That
right?
actually was about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, and we're supposed to go live at 6 o'clock, which you guys always count on us going live a half hour later, which is 6:30. We thank you for your understanding on that. And then it just compounded, but it doesn't matter because we have this guy right here, Rand Paul, kind of going at it like a little sparring match, a little bit nice with Dr. Face Maskey. Can we just call him that from now on, Dr. Face Maskey?
Yeah.
I made that up just now on the fly. We also have you ever fallen up the stairs? I know I have. I have. Have you ever fallen up the stairs 3 times in a row? I'm not quite sure I've taken it to that much. But
that clip is going to be hard to watch. I have a hard time watching it.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
I need to check the chat to make sure we have sound, and I think there's an echo probably from Periscope there. Sorry, guys.
There's so much here this week. So Michelle is making sure everything is going as planned. Let me go over some of the more I don't know, shall we say, lighthearted news of this week in California. Well, I don't know if you would like it lighthearted or not, because you're not allowed to be lighthearted in California. In California, the California Attractions and Parks Association, theme parks in California are set to reopen next month, but visitors are being warned, get this, that they're not allowed to sing, shout at or scream or engage in heavy breathing while on rides.
So that means you're on the roller coaster, right? Now, have you ever been on a roller coaster? Like, we grew up riding roller coasters. We were before the inner ear thing. We're big roller coaster fans. All right, we have a giant amusement park here in Cincinnati. It's called Kings Island. Listen, Uncle Jack grew up working there. Patriot Gallery grew up working there. Everyone in Cincinnati goes. It's a huge deal. We go, you ride the roller coaster. Now, so you can't breathe heavy. So what that means is you're taking the thing, you're going up the ride like chink, 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 right? And as you go down the roller coaster, my suggestion would be to hold your breath, because I think that's the only way to ensure no screaming and no breathing heavy. You know what I'm saying?
This is what I don't understand. How does this work? Visitors will also be mandated to wear masks on the rides in order to mitigate the effects of shouting. The rules appear to be inspired by Japanese theme parks, which also introduced a no screaming rule when they reopened last summer. From April 1st onwards, theme parks in California are allowed to reopen at just 15% of capacity.
Okay.
So that's the time to go. When Disneyland opens April 30th, only California residents will be allowed to enter. The CDC itself published a list of guidelines telling Americans not to sing and to limit alcohol consumption during Thanksgiving. Remember that?
So here you are, you're not breathing. I would hold my breath for this. Like, legit. So you go ahead and keep reading. We're going to take this roller coaster ride, and you try not to breathe heavy just watching this, and let's see how you do. I don't even know where this is. White Cyclone wooden roller coaster in Japan. I think I have it muted. I hope I do. Yeah, I do. All right. So no breathing heavy at all. Just don't breathe at all. No screaming. Nothing. Whoa. I'm getting a little dizzy. Just don't scream. Don't breathe heavy. And who defines heavy, by the way? Because if you're like obese or you have like an illness, your breathing might be heavier than another person.
Well, what I don't understand, you're wearing the mask. Masks already require heavy breathing. They just do.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm going to go on to the next article while you're doing that.
While we're taking this ride,
the White House has eliminated several staffers for past pot smoking use. Very interesting here. Dozens of White House staffers have been suspended, relocated, or asked to resign. I love this part, though. Some were asked to work from home, so they could
smoke, for having smoked pot
in the past.
So
they could probably go home and smoke more pot.
That's what it is. It was the pot smokers that actually,
despite initial indications from transition officials that recreational use of cannabis would not be a disqualifying factor, according to the Daily Beast, citing 3 anonymous sources. The policy has even affected staffers whose marijuana use was exclusive to one of the 14 states in the District of Columbia where cannabis are legal. Sources, you can stop them.
I did.
Sources familiar with the matter also said a number of young staffers were either put on probation or canned because they revealed past marijuana use in an official document they filled out as part of a lengthy background check. Staffers were initially told by transition higher-ups that the administration would likely overlook past marijuana use, only later to be asked for their resignation. There were one-on-one calls with individual affected staffers, ex-staffers. One former White House staffer told the Beast, "I was asked to resign." Nothing was ever explained on the calls led by White House Director of Management and Administration and Philippic. The policies were never explained. The threshold for what was excusable and what was inexcusable was never explained. I just find this interesting. But do you remember when Kamala Harris said she did inhale?
Oh dear, are you kidding? Oh,
we don't have a
speaker. Hang on.
I did inhale.
Yeah, she did inhale. That's what she says.
It's embarrassing when people talk about it. I mean, it's just so strange.
And
you know what? Most people, I believe, with Kamala Harris, it's like, it sounded so cheesy there. Like she was just saying it like she wears these chucks to be cool. It's almost like she was laughing and joking about it to be cool. You probably never did.
Somebody says here on Twitter, one thing I find genuinely admirable about Joe Biden is that with his son Hunter, he understands that a punitive approach to drug use is harmful and counterproductive. But it's hard.
Playing in the background.
I don't know.
You must.
It's Uncle Biden here.
Oh, you can't get to that yet. No, don't play that yet.
We're not there yet. I'm stopping it so we can get to that.
You don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out on that. You don't want to miss out on that. So when Michelle gets a chance, you just bring that one up. We'll go over that one whenever you get a chance. But last night or yesterday, there was a meeting with this guy, Tony Blinken, who's a staffer or somebody important with, I don't even know what his
Blinken and Nod.
I don't know what his actual position is in the Obama administration. But the Biden team and China's team met together in Alaska to discuss things. Now, each side was supposed to be given 2 minutes, and the U.S., kind of went after, a little bit of Taiwan and Hong Kong, a little bit, but then the Biden team was like, we're going to reset, the past 4 years and this is going to be great and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
China gets up, takes 20 minutes and blasts the United States.
So everybody else had a couple minutes.
Just the U.S.
Just the U.S. had
it was agreed upon
minutes,
each group would have 2 minutes.
But then China came out with we're going to add a 0 to our 2.
I guess Anthony Blinken is Secretary of State. So.
Okay.
See how much this is important to me. He visited, so I guess this guy, Tony Blinken, visited Japan and South Korea earlier this week and said that the U.S. will continue to work towards denuclearization and to counter China's growing coercion and aggression in Asia. This one was, so first of all, there's a blunder here with Russia that we're going to get to.
Yeah.
Where Joe Biden
said that
it's okay. He at one time had looked Putin in the eye and was like, you have no soul. And supposedly Putin just laughed, and then Putin's people came out and said that never happened. And Vladimir Putin
I thought you were going to get to that later.
I am.
Given the punchlines.
But people are okay with this now. Has
What,
offered to do.
Leave?
No,
but or not.
I'll go into more detail. Has offered to do a live, one-on-one conversation with Joe Biden, for the whole world to see live. And as one Putin staffer has said, to show Joe Biden's dementia.
And in a fair world, we would get to see that.
In a fair world, we get to see that. But wait, there's more. Kim Jong-un.
Okay.
Kim Yo-Jong, the sister of Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Warned Joe Biden against causing a stink if the U.S. wants to sleep in peace as Blinken visited the region earlier this week. Don't cause a stink.
Don't cause a stink if you
Secretary
want to sleep
Blinken
in
and
peace.
National Security Advisor Dick Sullivan then met with China's top diplomat Yang Jiechi and State Councilor Wang Yi in Anchorage, Alaska yesterday. Blinken's meeting with China's top diplomat went quickly south last night. Blinken says, we will discuss our deep concerns with actions by China, including Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks in the United States, economic coercion of our allies. He said, each of these actions threatens the rules-based order that maintains global stability. In talking points that mirror the Democrat Party, the Chinese diplomat blasted the U.S. for poor treatment of minorities.
Really?
And told Blinken the U.S. should handle its own affairs and China its own. In lengthy response to the U.S. opening statement, Yang hit back, accusing the United States of using its military might and financial supremacy to pressure countries and of abusing national security to threaten the future of international trade. He said Xinjiang, Hong Kong, and Taiwan were all inseparable parts of the Chinese territory, and China firmly opposed U.S. interference in its internal affairs. Yang said human rights in the United States were at a low point with Black Americans being slaughtered, and added that the United States should handle its own affairs and China its own.
Oh my gosh.
Yang said it was necessary to abandon a Cold War mentality and confrontation, and added, the way we see the relationships with the United States is as President Xi Jinping has said. That is, we hope to see no confrontation, no conflict, mutual respect, and win-win cooperation with the United States. The AFP reported that China's envoy then threatened firm actions in response to U.S. interference in its internal affairs. And I'm going to get to a video here where the Chinese people, the Chinese diplomats basically say, you're weak. You don't have any reason to say anything to us. You have no power here. You have no power. Yeah, I'm going to get this. Let me see. Let's see. China dismisses Biden sanctions as a redo of Trump sanctions already in place. Where's my video?
Do I have it?
Where's my video?
Whoa, there's so many tabs here.
I know.
I don't even know how I'm going to find them. When North Korea confirms it's actively ignoring Biden? No.
No, it's going to be...
China dismisses Biden sanctions.
It's going to be...
China lectures Biden admin on America's long history of killing people.
Stop reading all the titles out loud.
I'm trying to pull up the video.
No.
Yeah.
Here, it's going to be this third Twitter over here on this side. Yeah.
All right, we got this. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ain't ready.
We started from the beginning.
I'm going to start it from the beginning. We don't have any volume on it yet.
Okay.
We'll also discuss our deep concerns with actions by China, including in Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks on the United States, economic coercion toward our allies. Each of these actions threaten the rules-based order that maintains global stability.
倒打一把是不行的。
Well, you can't blame this problem on somebody else.
I have to tell you, what I'm hearing is very different from what you described. I'm hearing deep satisfaction that the United States is back, that we're re-engaged with our allies and partners. I'm also hearing deep concern about some of the actions your government is taking.
我们把你们想得太好了，我们认为你们会遵守基本的外交礼节。
Well, I think we thought too well of the United States. We thought that the U.S. side will follow the necessary diplomatic protocols.
所以我们刚才必须阐明我们的立场。
So for China, it was necessary that we make our position clear.
我现在讲一句，你们没有资格在中国的面前说你们从实力的地位出发同中国谈话。
So let me say here that in front of the Chinese side, the United States does not have the qualification to say that it wants to speak to China from a position of strength.
From a position of strength, the Chinese top diplomat Yang here says that the U.S. has deeply rooted human rights problems, a long history of killing blacks, and urges U.S. to do better on human rights issues. This is a case of perfectly calculated deflection. The U.S. and the world rightly calling out the Uyghur genocide over the numbers, I think today, of forced abortions were 400 million, almost 500 million Chinese babies ripped from the wombs. We know that they are trafficking in organ transplants. And this is a powerful step for China to come forth at this meeting with a very weak representation from the United States.
Claiming,
and basically stomp on the United States and say, no, you're weak. We rule the roost. We have all power. Knowing that this current regime, aka administration, is just to be walked all over. Absolutely amazing.
I want you to, guys,
absolutely amazing.
Segment is one of the biggest segments of our show. Because the way I described it to Leah, you need to understand something. I think that this is a good analogy. It's not the best. I probably could come up with something better, but this is a good analogy. Let's say that you are a female, you're beautiful, you're single, you live in a home, and you got a next door neighbor that's below you, okay, as far as class and, you know, just social abilities, so on and so forth. And he comes to you and he's really nice and you befriend him and you're like, we could be friends. You're a nice neighbor. And he does things for you, mow your lawn. He will, you know, let you borrow sugar and do all that, you know, wash your car, whatever, becomes your friend, lulls you into this, we can be friends. It'd be so great, you know, listens to you, yada, yada, yada. And you think, well, he's a nice guy. We might as well just be friends. He knows you've made it clear we're not going to ever be anything more than friends, but this is what's going to, you know, we're going to have a nice friendship, okay? And then you come over for tea to his house and he ties your hands behind your back and takes you to the basement. He's going to rape and kill you. And it was never about, he didn't want a relationship with you. He didn't even want a legitimate, he didn't want a friendship. He didn't want a relationship. It was always and only ever to dominate and abuse and then ultimately crush you. I'm being careful about how I say this on YouTube. Okay. So what you need to understand about what China has done in lulling the Democrat Party with this, oh, we can be friends, we can have a friendship, yada, yada. It was never, ever about friendship. They did not want good relationships with the United States. They only ever were nice so that they could come and dominate and crush. And then you've got, the guy has you tied up in the basement, you have duct tape on your face, and then the guy spits in the woman's face and says, you're weak. Mm-hmm. You are weak.
The propaganda,
that's what you're looking at right now.
So the Chinese Communist paper the Global Times dismissed the Biden administration's actions as political theater meant for domestic consumption to satiate anti-China sentiment and the irrational desire of some forces to contain China. The propaganda outlet advised Blinken to try to curtsy at the Alaska meetings instead of making tough gestures and pretending that the U.S. is dealing from a position of strength. The Global Times said that the Biden administration is trying to ice skate uphill against the awesome power of the new planetary hegemon, which dominates global opinion and leaves America with little support for its moral posturing. U.S. hyperbole over Hong Kong has turned off the appetite of most members of the international community. Hong Kong is part of China's territory. Some Americans in the form of public opinion make a few comments on Hong Kong's governance. Washington is trying to dictate how Hong Kong should be handled. If that is the case, China can only ask, who do they think they are? The more extreme their performance is, the more they show that some of their old power is gone. They should remember this. China is not what it was 100 years ago. In reality, international criticism of China's oppressive moves on Hong Kong is quite robust, and even the Hong Kong criticism the Global Times fulminated over was co-signed by Japan, International Human Rights Organizations, blah, 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 blah. But here we have a very interesting show where, you know, the New York Post laptop came out. Tony Bobulinski showed that that the Bidens are compromised.
Mm-hmm.
That China has won over on the Bidens. Hunter making a $1.6 billion deal.
Guys, this is
with China.
Listen, I know Leah's got stuff. She's got so much she wants to cover, but to me, this is really, really important. This is the be all and end all of tonight's show, of the past 4 months. Okay, 5 months, whatever we're going into now. This is good news. China is coming out with a very strong showing. They believe fully that they have won. That they have it all under control. They're coming out hard. They're coming out fast.
We won Joe. Remember that?
They're like, we did this. We accomplished this. I can be ambiguous with that, right? We did all of this, and now we own you. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that they are coming out this strong, this hard, this fast, to me is, I couldn't be happier. I'm like, wow, I didn't expect it to escalate this fast. I didn't expect them to be making these kinds of moves this fast.
Showing their face. So this is Biden's actual response here to Blinken.
Very proud of the Secretary of State.
Are you going to take Vladimir Putin up on his offer to talk live with you?
I'm sure we'll talk at some point.
Are you going to impose sanctions on Russia, sir?
Pardon me?
Are you imposing sanctions on Russia, sir?
That'll come in time.
He keeps walking away
we hope we can
and then gets lulled back in.
Maybe a day, which would mean that we may be able to get to, may be able to double it, but we've met the goal and we're continuing to move forward. Thank you.
So he's asked about how Blinken covered. Oh, did great. Just fine.
Really proud of him.
Yeah, so go and play this video. He supposedly was on his way to Atlanta, Georgia, because he kind of wanted to ride on the back of this this shooting, and he kind of wanted to make it about a racial thing. There was a shooting at these Asian massage parlors where bad things go down. And this young kid, he does happen to be white. He says he has a sex addiction, and he went to 2 different massage parlors, and he killed 8 people, and 6 Asian people, and some white people, and injured a Hispanic person. He said he was trying to get out of his sexual addiction that was not racially motivated. I don't think he was racist if he was going to the Asians for the thing that he wanted done. But Biden wanted to go down there and kind of, you know, there's been a lot of horrible racist attacks on Asians by Black people all over like the country, but in the inner cities, and we haven't really played too many of those because they're very disturbing.
Oh, I can't stand that stuff.
But they kind of wanted to paint it as like Republican conservative people blame it on Trump or whatever. But in reality, these are people who are, you know, attacking. These people are probably not Trump supporters. These inner city people are probably, if anything, supporting Democrat policies. You just,
right.
And so to blame it on to Trump, to think that a Democrat would listen to Trump say, you know, call it a Chinese virus, and then go attack people and then blame it just because 6 Asians were killed doesn't mean it's a racist attack. And the FBI actually came out today and said, we have no evidence of this being racist, racially motivated whatsoever.
Okay.
That the guy said he had a sex addiction and he wanted to get rid of these massage parlors.
So what video do I have for you?
the video of him walking up the stairs. He's getting on the airplane to go to Atlanta.
Which video? Where would that be? I know it's on Twitter, right?
Yeah, it's the first Twitter on the left here, all the way to the left. Your other left, not that one. The other one. The other one. There we go.
Okay, now, so Biden falls up the stairs. What does that have to do with the massage parlors?
On the way to Atlanta to address I
missed that whole thing.
To address.
I get it. The issue.
The issue, and he wanted to make it about like racism, but he can't make it about racism because the FBI said it's not about racism.
Right.
So he was going to Georgia to try to.
So he's tripping over. Now, this is painful to watch, honestly. Even though it's Joe Biden, he falls 3 times.
It looks like he's good.
Three times.
It's one of the worst falls I've seen. It's pretty bad.
And he starts to jog here. Like, oh, I'm trying to run, and oh, jeez, ow, shoot. He has to rub his shin there, because it hurt. Like, oh, jeez, oh. And then I gotta do my salute thing, and now, oh, he limps as he goes in there, because your shin, man.
Let's play it again.
We're gonna play it again, even though it's painful.
So there's a video.
Oh!
Last year.
Oh! Rub that shin. Rub it.
There's a video last year where Joe Biden was saying, you know, Trump stumbles up the stairs, but I jog up them, and I can outrun him, outbeat him, blah, 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 but guys, so, yeah, it's...
I'm not watching it a third time.
I'm not watching it a third time myself.
Whoa, that was really painful.
So,
ooh, do I have that?
The next one is kind of a meme where it's not a playing, it's just a meme. It's a picture that says, Putin says, I wish him good health, and then falling down the stairs.
Oh, dear. Okay.
We're going to not do that one just yet. All right. Want to play Joe Biden.
James on DLive says, ouch, that smarts.
So, Jack Posobiec says, Kim, Putin, and Xi have now all publicly mocked Biden this week. Xi's delegation to their face. No one around the world has any respect for him as he is seen as weak and feckless. And then if you go over here, you can see it's it'll be like number 3 that you have on the left, on the right.
I know,
right
I'm closing that one so that I don't have all these tabs. There we go.
And here we have Joe Biden calling Kamala President Harris.
Leah played this in the kitchen earlier in getting ready for the show, and I just looked at her and I said, Leah, and she's like, yeah, that was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Must be matched with fairness and equity. Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona not long ago, be matched with fairness and equity. Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona not long ago, must be matched with fairness and equity. Now, when President Harris and I...
Guys, it could be stated that he just missed the vice in front of it. Well, first of all, you can't take the vice out of Kamala. But this is not the first time that he has called her President Harris.
Yes, it's not.
This is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
That's not just a flub if it's a continuation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell y'all something. If I was president of anything.
Yeah.
And there was a vice under me.
Yeah.
You had better believe I am never going to mistakenly call that vice president. It doesn't happen. Guys, this is not okay. Holy mazzoli. I wanted to, after you played that, like my instinct was like, I just wanted to go on Facebook and be like, guys, to anybody that has voted for this man.
I'm going to play this clip here where China's foreign ministry spokesman blamed the United States for the confrontational tone of the start of the first round of the China-U.S. talks here in Alaska.
是由于美方
There's a
This
translator.
was also due to the fact that the U.S. didn't respect the timings that had been agreed upon for the relevant remarks. It's the U.S. that first provoked and stirred conflict. So for both sides, from the start of the opening remarks, the venue totally reeked of explosives and was full of dramatic colors.
在开场白的时候，就充满了火药味儿和戏剧色彩。
This was not China's original intention.
中国代表团成员抵达阿拉斯加的时候，
When the members of the Chinese delegation arrived in Alaska,
阿拉斯加
not only did they experience Alaska's frigid weather, but they also experienced the way that the U.S. hosts treat their guests.
美国主人的待客之道。
So their hearts were chilled by the biting cold as well as the reception by their American host. Afterwards, the United States accused China of grandstanding while the Chinese state media blamed U.S. officials for speaking too long and being inhospitable. The Chinese delegation seemed to have arrived intent on grandstanding, focused on public theaters and dramatics over substance. So we'll see how this goes. I was listening to one commentator say, I thought that China would go in and play peace and fun and games, and we're gonna get back together, and Trump was hard, but actually Trump's tough stance, it was respected. And even though Trump had the sanctions and was played tough with China, they respected that, and in order to they respected and knew that they had to go tit for tat or Trump would drop the ball on it. And there were times when I thought Trump was too soft on China, but he was playing the art of the deal there. And I think, like Michelle said, the more we see this stuff unfold, the more we see like a China just walk right all over Joe Biden.
So I've said this before, but not really on our show because it doesn't come up. It's not relevant. But for any young girls that are listening or any full-grown females that are listening to me, this is real. My mom always taught me when I was younger, growing up. She and not really when I was a kid, but as I was becoming a teenager, she said that guys will, and if you guys are watching, don't take this personally. It's just a guy thing, not that it's for all guys, okay? But the creepy ones, let's put it that way. They will woo you, and they will be nice, and they will be kind, and they will try to get you to push your limits, okay, physically. And then once they do, once they steal your innocence, once they get you to go farther, once they take advantage of you, all of that outer niceness falls. And that's when they become the abuser. That's because they have lost all respect for you in that moment. And you think to yourself that you're giving, that you would be giving something, right? So that's what Harris and Joe and the whole administration thinks, like, oh, this is a mutual relationship and we enjoy being physical together with China. No, because now you've lost everything. You don't hold any cards. They own you. It's the exact same thing. They lose as soon as you give up all of that stuff because you think that they love you or they're going to do this for you or they're going to do that for you. No. They lost all. I'm telling you, this is an exact scenario here. And so now this is really good news because this faux regime, whatever it is going to wake up and go, oh, just like the girl that once she gives her virginity away or she sleeps with a guy and she wakes up and they say, oh, aren't we really close now? And he just throws on his pants and walks out the door and like, sorry, that's all I wanted. We're done. That's what China has done.
But on the other hand, what the left has accused Russia of being and doing these past 4 years is exactly what China is. And what they say China is Russia can be dealt with. Russia's not trying to dominate the entire world, despite what you may hear. Okay? Putin wants to get along. Right. Okay? I think he's hilarious. I think he's smart. And he knows that he doesn't have this world giant military. He knows he does not have a huge population of people. Right. He knows his hand. Right. And he's sitting back watching the U.S. politics, watching the relationship with China and the U.S., and he is just laughing. Yeah. Right? And so he says, I had just thought of this just now, Putin told a Russian state television reporter Thursday in response to Biden's ABC interview where he agreed Putin is a killer with no soul. He says, I want to propose to President Biden to continue our discussion, but on the condition that we do it basically live. as it's called, without any delays and directly in an open, direct discussion. It seems to me that would be interesting for the people of Russia and for the people of the United States. And I say, yes, Lord, please.
I know.
Please.
You know, we did get those debates between Trump and Biden that we really wanted when I kept saying for sure they were not going to happen. So you never know.
It appears that Putin is actually serious. He goes, I don't want to put this off for long. I want to go the Taiga, whatever that is, this weekend and relax a little, so we can do it tomorrow or Monday. We are ready at any time convenient for the United States, for the American side. The Russian leader also said he wished Biden good health. I would say to him, be well. I wish him good health. I say that without any irony, without any jokes.
He says that. He added that at the end.
Yeah. And then Biden falls on the stairs.
So I'm not laughing at the stair thing. That
No.
part I'm not laughing at.
No.
Mom was like emphatic. Not emphatic, that's an overstatement. But Mom was like, I don't like that kind of stuff. It's not funny.
No, it's not.
But
Oh, my hair's kind of falling.
no, it's fine. It's great. Just leave it. It looks good.
Okay.
But what he said at the end, that's funny.
I would say to him, be well. I wish him good health. I say that without any irony, without any jokes.
Oh my gosh. Without any jokes.
Given that it's been over
Who's got jokes?
Given that it's been over 60 days since Biden has taken questions in a formal press conference, we highly doubt anyone at the White House would entertain any sort of live exchange. But you know who would do that?
Of the Union?
You know who would do that?
Trump.
Because he did it with
Hands
every leader.
down.
He did that with every leader.
But Putin wouldn't say that to Trump.
He sat down with leaders and they had the questions and it was live. And Trump could do that.
I know.
Because he doesn't have dementia. Because he's there in his mind.
And again, all jokes aside, seriously, it's not a matter of it being funny. Whether you like Trump or you hate him, you are allowed to hate him. I don't care. I really don't care if you hate Trump. I don't. But you have to admit that Trump is there cognitively and Joe Biden is not.
The Russian presidential spokesperson responded when asked about a new Cold War between the two countries. Well, of course, we always hope for the best, but we are always ready for the worst. As far as Russia is concerned, President Putin has clearly stated his desire to continue ties. He's smart. Okay? There's just games being played.
Putin's not coming out saying United States is weak.
Yeah.
You know, like that's essentially what China came out. They said, we don't have to deal with the United States now. You're weak. You're weak.
This is Joe Jack Posobiec says, Biden is clearly experiencing issues from fracturing his foot. Remember back in November where he says he slipped and fell playing with the dog? The administration in denial over it, and they're scared of Jill, supposedly. This has already happened off camera several times per White House official.
The tripping?
The tripping and the falling.
Maybe he should stop jogging. Like that running up, you know, like he does. Like, I'm in shape. I'm super fit, man. It's not, nobody's buying it when it backfires.
So these, I don't know if you guys can see this. Move it to the side. Move all the way. This is Jill Biden's White House Easter eggs. The bunny has a mask on it.
Does it
the
though?
Easter egg roll with 2021? Yeah, the
bunny. It kind of just looks like a cartoon. Like that's like the nose and then the mouth.
No. The annual White House Easter egg roll has been canceled for the second year in a row due to the COVID. However, the COVID-obsessed Biden administration has released a wooden souvenir Easter egg by Jill Biden that featured the Easter bunny wearing a mask.
So, but who wants the one with the dogs that
the
bit
German
somebody?
Shepherds do not need to wear masks.
But they also, maybe they should have been wearing a muzzle.
Yeah.
They're biting dogs.
The White House Easter egg roll has been canceled. And you can get yourself a wooden... The eggs are sold by the White House Historical Association.
I don't think that the Easter egg roll has been canceled because of COVID, though. I think it's because they can't allow anybody into the compound. You need to actually be on the White House lawn for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
So
yeah.
Come into our razor wire, children.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Mommy, why are we behind cages? There's razor wire everywhere. Is this how the people at the border feel?
All right. So if you go with me to,
where am I going?
We want to play Rand Paul here.
Rand Paul.
I think it's number 4. Keep going to the right. You can't play that one.
Whoa, what is that?
There we go. So Rand Paul literally had a very intense exchange here with Dr. Anthony Fauci. And
face masky.
We here on YouTube, I love that you guys are here on YouTube. There are several stories that we spent like 5 hours trying to get YouTube up, so I hate to say goodbye. So I'm trying to pull out any stories that I can while you're still here that I don't think will get us a strike or banned, because we are special. We are so special here on YouTube. Other people can say things that we cannot say.
So if they can give us strikes, can we give YouTube fouls? Foul ball!
I hope so. That would be awesome. So here we have Senator Rand Paul, and I'm not going to give too much commentary, and neither is Michelle.
Okay.
On Rand Paul, I think his speech speaks for itself, but I will give commentary when we say aloha too.
You don't mean aloha.
Yeah, you can
Adios.
say you can
Can
say
you
goodbye
say
and hello.
I don't think we have a hospitalization in the United States after the 2-week period after the second vaccination. We don't have a death in the United States.
You're not hearing what I'm saying about variants. We're talking about wild type versus variants.
And what proof is there that there are significant reinfections with hospitalizations and death from the variants? None in our country. Zero.
Well, because we don't have a prevalent of a variant yet. We're having one. Can I finish? We're having 117 that's becoming more dominant.
Your policy based on conjecture.
No,
it
isn't based on conjecture.
Variants, so you want people to wear a mask for another couple years.
No.
You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show.
Well,
you can't get it again. There's virtually 0% chance you're going to get it, and yet you're telling people that have had the vaccine, who have immunity. You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people to wear masks who've been vaccinated.
No.
Instead, you should be saying there is no science to say we're going to have a problem from the large number of people being vaccinated. You want to get rid of vaccine hesitancy? Tell them they can quit wearing their mask after they get the vaccine. You want people to get the vaccine? Give them a reward instead of telling them that the nanny state's going to be there for 3 more years and you got to wear a mask forever. People don't want to hear it. There's no science behind it.
Well, let me just state for the record that masks are not theater. Masks are protective. And we
have immunity there, theater. If you already have immunity, you're wearing a mask to give comfort to others. You're not wearing a mask because of any science.
I totally disagree with you.
Dr. Fauci, if you could respond so that we could understand the difference between the virus itself and the variants and the reason for a mask.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't hear.
If you could.
That's the end of that clip.
That is pretty crazy. Rand Paul calling out Fauci as the double masker, and I'm going to play his response to his response.
You're telling everybody to wear a mask, whether they've had an infection or a vaccine. If we're not spreading the infection, isn't it just theater?
No, it's
not.
not.
The vaccine and you're wearing 2 masks. Isn't that theater?
No, that's not. Here we go again with the theater.
What proof is there that there are significant reinfections with hospitalizations and death from the variants? None in our country. Zero.
All right, so that was a Senate committee hearing, and Senator Rand Paul joins us this morning to talk about what exactly went down, what happened. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, Senator, tell us, set that up for the audience at home. What happened?
So, we've had 90 million vaccines in our country. About 40 to 50 million people have been vaccinated. We've got another 30 million people who have gotten the disease naturally, like I have. And the question is, do they have immunity? But we've always believed that. That's the science of vaccines, is that when you get an infection or you get the vaccination, you develop immunity. And yet he keeps moving the goalposts and saying, well, you might get this variant from South Africa. And my point to him is, show us the evidence. Show us the scientific evidence that people who have already had COVID or people who have already had the vaccine are getting it again. If they're getting it in large numbers and they're getting ill and going to the hospital and dying, we should know that. But it's not true. It's his conjecture. He says we might get it, therefore we need to wear the mask for another year.
Yeah.
This is equivalent of saying, well, we might get the Spanish flu, so maybe we should wear the mask until the Spanish flu comes back.
Yep.
It's a ridiculous notion, not based on science. And what he is doing is theater, and it goes against the science of vaccines. Dr. Fauci has immunity. He can't get it again, but he's wearing a mask because it's one of his noble lies to convince everybody to wear masks. But it's not true. If you've been vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask.
So that's really your message: is once you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask around other people who have also been vaccinated, which is a great sales pitch for everybody getting the shot.
Right, exactly. I'm not against the vaccine. I'm for people being vaccinated. In fact, that's how we're getting out of this. Both natural immunity, having had the infection, plus those being vaccinated is good. Once you are vaccinated and you're 2 weeks out from the second dose, you are safe. And there is no record so far of anybody being hospitalized or dying that's been vaccinated. There's also no record of people who've gotten it naturally being reinfected and being hospitalized or dying. So what we have is that it's very, very safe once you've had the vaccine, very, very safe once you've had the infection, and we should be getting that.
There are records of people being hospitalized after getting the vaccine. Just
Reward.
FYI.
In fact, it should be the incentive for people to go out and get vaccinated is that you want to wear your.
But not from.
But Dr. Fauci gets this upside down. He's such a government worrywart that he says, well, you might get else someday. Well, we might get anything. We might get the Spanish flu again, but that's not the way science works. He needs to show us evidence as to why. It's incumbent upon him to prove to us that we need to wear a mask, not the other way around.
It's a great point, Senator. By what standard, on this same point, by what standard do you believe Dr. Fauci or others, as you put it, government worrywarts, would effectively say, take the mask off? What is that threshold other than what he's already said?
That's great, because I think it leads to the answer being never, because there's ultimately always something that could be around the corner. See, he's saying the South African variant might come. I'm saying to him, show me that the South African variant is infecting people, causing them to go to the hospital, and causing them to die in significant numbers. If it's a significant pathogen, I'll listen. But the thing is most of the thing we're finding out is the opposite, that the vaccine actually works on all the variants so far, and that there isn't massive death and rehospitalization from people who have been vaccinated. This is good news. Yeah. Instead of saying it might happen, he needs to show me a study, a scientific study showing that it is happening, because I'm not willing to wear a mask for the rest of my life for something that might happen unless you show me that it actually is happening. So the science, the proof should, and the burden of proof should be on theirs. They shouldn't just get to say, oh, wear a mask because Dr. Fauci likes wearing a mask. And the whole double mask is complete theater. There's no science saying that he can get reinfected. There are no studies showing reinfection after vaccine.
But just to be clear, you're talking, he was talking about after the vaccine. For people who have not had the vaccine and have not had COVID and don't have the immunities in their system, those people should wear a mask when they cannot social distance.
I think it depends on their risk factors. If they're a kid, the risk factor of getting this and dying from this is virtually zero. And so I'm not a big fan of having kids wear masks. I think it's to each his own. If you want to send your kid to a school that they say wear a mask, do it. If you want to send your kid to a private school they don't wear a mask, I think that's also fine. I think the risk factors are things that individuals in a free society should decide for themselves. If you look at all the mask mandates throughout the country, when we instituted mask mandates, the incidence of the disease went up, particularly in December and January, as we went up exponentially. As the rise in infections occurred, everybody was wearing masks. So there's not a great deal of evidence that mask mandates or economic lockdowns have changed the trajectory. The only thing that's changing the trajectory is the vaccine. So that's why I don't think people should be tricked into thinking the mask is the answer. The vaccine actually is the answer, but the mask really isn't an answer. We've had rampant infection with everybody wearing masks. Most people getting the infection say they've been wearing the mask. The cloth masks don't really work at all. Yeah. And so the 5 masks have been shown to work in hospital settings, but none of the masks have really been proven to work in the.
Thank you, Rand.
How do you think this is going to play out, let's say, in a few more months? Because right now, no one's hugging. People are socially distanced. You're wearing the mask. People are staying in their own space. You think we'll remain like that as a country, or will we go back to the way it was?
Ultimately, the government bureaucrats like Fauci will lose. People are already pushing back. I mean, look, President Biden saying on July 4th, you can get together with 3 people. People are already doing what they want. It's a free country, and they're going to get tired of these people. Look, I meet people all the time in their 70s that have been vaccinated. There's a twinkle back in their eye. They're going to restaurants, wearing their mask. They really don't care what President Biden or Fauci or any of these so-called people are saying. They feel safe after the vaccine, and I think they should. Right. That's what the science. And if the science says you're safe after the vaccine, what a terrible selling message. If that's true, they can go ahead and try to say that. But they're trying to tell you the vaccine is safe and working, and yet you still have to wear a mask. That's a contradictory proposition.
Senator Wall.
when we pop off of YouTube here, we're going to counter a little bit of Rand Paul's statements there. And I want you guys to just stick with me on that and hold on, because I know a lot of you guys have a lot of things to say, and so do I. All right, more COVID suicides and COVID deaths in kids.
Wow.
Before COVID, an American youth died by suicide every 6 hours. Suicide is a major public health threat and a leading cause of death for those under age of 25. One far bigger than COVID, and it is something that we have only been made worse. It looks like why has the rise in suicide? People are scared. We were scared for our lives, for those we love, and it's just absolutely crazy. So it says, then in the article it says, and it is something we have only made worse as we, led by politicians and the science, deprived our youngest members of society, who constitute 1/3 of the U.S. population, of educational, emotional, and social development without their permission or consent for over a year. And for why? We were scared. We were scared for our lives and those people we love. And like your average German on the street in the 1930s and 40s, we believed that doing what we were told and supporting the national cause would save us and our families. The reality is we sacrificed others without a second thought. We have sacrificed our youth's lives and future livelihoods in a desperate attempt to save a slim minority of the elderly people who have surpassed the average U.S. life expectancy of 78.8 years, and those who are already on their way out, says this article.
Speaking of which, I think what they're referring to is
the
people that are dying from COVID are the average age of death.
The median age, not the average, but the middle. That's even more important. Is 80 years old,
which is
the middle age,
higher than the median age. I'm assuming it's saying
the average life
expectancy, which is 78 point whatever.
COVID poses minimal risk to healthy individuals under 65 and is even less of a threat to youth, those under age 25. In fact, preliminary data suggests COVID accounted for barely 1.2% of all deaths of those in the under 25 age group, graphically, and you can see the line here. And there's a domino effect there, and like I said, I'm going to go a little bit more into that when we're a little bit freer. I think I got a couple more articles here before I want to just be a little bit freer. I love you guys on YouTube, but like there's just stuff we are not supposed to be saying.
Yeah, like most of what we're saying anyway.
Well, we go up to the line and then we try to walk it back a little bit. In Wisconsin, there's a judge. This is a man. Obviously a man. He lives his life as a man, as a male judge, but he enjoys dressing up in drag.
Okay.
And he was a child's court judge, ran an LGBT group, supported drag queen Storytime, and he's been arrested on possessing child pornography. So this guy, this activist and head of Cream City Foundation in Milwaukee, which provides grant money to LGBTQ groups. Why would it be called Cream City? I don't know. And support for Drag Queen Story Hour, has been arrested and faces charges of possessing child pornography. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports that Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Brett Blome was arrested on Tuesday on the aforementioned charges. He is 38 years old, and he multiple uploads of child pornography through a Kit messaging app, and he did this from the chambers of his courtroom, the judicial chambers.
Okay, so that is a problem. You have an addiction at that point. If you can't go a work day without your kitty porn, you got problems.
Yeah, and he helped lead the Drag Queen Story Hour. He also has 2 adopted children.
No.
With his husband.
Social workers had better show up at that door.
And I'm not going to play this video, but I don't know if you guys remember this one, but this was, this is a drag queen. This is a man dressed up as a woman asking children, does anyone in this room know how to twerk? The drag queen asked 5-year-olds, I will give you a quick demonstration.
Are we going to have to watch it?
Well, I won't play it because I feel that even YouTube for somehow if I play it and I play it in some sort of
You're showing it.
bad.
You're showing it. Just stop it.
Well, this is what he did for
Okay,
5
we
years
get it.
old.
That's far enough.
5-year-olds.
That's far enough. Yeah.
So these are men who dress up as women, and they're not clowns. Just to be clear, drag is an adult experience, right?
Yeah.
You usually have to be 18 to go to these drag shows because they are sexually explicit.
Yes.
Always. That's what they do. They're sexually explicit. They're humorous, whatever, but they're sexually explicit. So would you bring in, like, let's have beer tasting for 5-year-olds, right?
Right.
Or we'll water down the beer. We'll do 50% beer. We'll do 25% beer for
Right.
kids. Who thinks that this is a good idea? You know what? These are, they call them adult experiences. We'll leave it at that. Why are you bringing these are not clowns. Clowns, if you had like sex clowns, you shouldn't bring them into the schools. You shouldn't bring them into the libraries. So there you have that.
Whoa.
I know.
I'm speechless.
I know.
I shouldn't be, but I just... All right, so we try to, on our channel, bring you guys the news and what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think sometimes, because I'm hearing all this stuff for the first time, it takes me a minute to bring it back for you, because once again, so many people would love to come and say, but
A
Leah
priest who
Michelle,
presided over an
I know what you're saying about 80-70 and the Revelation Red Pill, but I gotta tell you, the earth and the world and society is definitely getting worse and worse and worse and worse and
They
worse.
weren't in Rome then, because it was way worse.
It was bad then, okay?
Like during the biblical times, when you read, they had prostitutes and whores, these things. They actually had temples where they would go, average people, and you would have sexual relations in the temples. Well known, homosexuality is a big deal. Nero himself castrated a young boy and used him as a replacement for his wife that he killed.
The reason
it was
why
worse
it
then, by the way,
seems like was way worse then. The reason why it seems
Nero had his
like
mom
it's
and
getting
sister
worse
killed. Yeah.
is because our society has kept those things in a box and said, bad, we don't let that happen in our society. And it's rearing its ugly head again. The reason why that has happened is because the church doesn't understand our position of authority. But the only way that the church is going to regain that position of authority and get awakened, we just watched, we had a Lord of the Rings marathon this past week, and there's a scene in, I think, the second movie where one of these kings is under a spell and his mind is captive and he gets brought out of that spell. The church has been under a spell, okay, with this worm tongue person speaking into our ears that things have to get worse and worse and worse because it's going to usher in Jesus Christ coming back. So it's a small moment in time where we have relinquished our authority, but what's going to wake us up is going, well, wait a minute, that's wrong. We can't allow that to continue. So the worse it seemingly gets, I know this sounds crazy, the better it is.
Yeah. Well, this is very...
Not because Jesus is going to come back, but because the church is going to wake up and put a stop to it.
A priest who has been a longtime friend of Joe Biden for 15 years.
Okay.
And he is the priest who presided over Joe Biden's inauguration, the happening, mass, he himself is under investigation. Santa Clarita University said in a statement on Monday that an independent investigation is being conducted into the school's president, Father Kevin O'Brien. John Sobrato, chairman of the Santa Clara University's Board of Trustees, said the school was informed by the provincial and U.S. West Providence that it received accounts that O'Brien exhibited behaviors in adult settings consisting primarily of conversations which may be inconsistent with established Jesuit protocols and boundaries. I'm guessing he was probably in some sort of gay bar. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
O'Brien was placed on leave as university president pending the outcome of the investigation by the U.S. West Province. He has agreed to cooperate with the investigation and honor the process, and he affirms annually as part of his ongoing Jesuit training. As we keep talking about the Jesuits seem to be behind a lot of this shenanigans. O'Brien presided over the Mass for Biden, and the university statement said that O'Brien has been a friend of Biden's for nearly 15 years and has previously held ceremonies at the Biden's previous inaugurations as vice president. And so I wanted to throw that out there for you guys so you could, there you go. So let me go on to a few good news articles, and for that, actually,
let me address a couple comments here on Periscope, because someone new was saying, I think it's Wendy, since I'm new here, I didn't know if they talk back to us. Yes, we do try to get to the comments, and I do monitor them on all of the platforms that we are streaming. We are streaming live to several platforms right now, including Periscope.
DLive, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube until we drop YouTube here in a second.
Yes, and we are going to drop YouTube, and then you'll get Leah and Michelle Unfiltered.
A little bit, yeah. One more story here. Judge has ruled that some of Ghislaine Maxwell's details are too sensational and, get this, impure to be revealed to the public.
Well, here's the thing. You just told us that drag queen story time is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so if our kids can watch a drag queen twerk, I'm pretty sure that the rest of society, us full-grown adults, can handle whatever Ghislaine Maxwell has in her closet to get to the truth. The reason why you're trying to say that we can't take it and we can't handle the truth, that's literally what they're Jack Nicklaus, they're saying you can't handle the truth. What you mean is we have to hide it, because if y'all knew what was going on and what the FBI and the CIA and all of these NNAs and all this stuff are doing behind the scenes, you couldn't handle it.
A federal judge in Manhattan on Thursday ruled on a series of redactions proposed by Ghislaine Maxwell and prosecutors regarding a compilation of transcripts submitted under seal by the government last month. After reviewing arguments from both sides, U.S. District Judge Allison J. Nathan allowed most of the government's redactions to remain in place.
Why is a judge overseeing redactions?
Well, they do that.
I know. I'm just saying in general in our country. I think that's stupid.
Objections, while also adding, well, you have to go to somebody. So the government has redactions, and she's saying, can they stay or not? And so she's saying, yes, they can stay.
One person.
While also adding,
besides this.
While also adding additional redactions at her request. Maxwell's legal team filed 12 motions requesting that the court, among other things, dismiss all of the charges relating to her alleged role as a recruiter of young girls for infamous Jeffrey Epstein. The government responded in February with an omnibus memorandum of law opposing Maxwell's motions, all of which were filed under seal pending rulings on the redactions. The government argued that its redactions were required in order to protect the integrity of its ongoing criminal investigation in Maxwell and to protect the privacy and interests of third parties.
Go ahead. Wait a minute. All right. It's too impure for the public.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all seen some of those, Dateline murder story shows? There's nothing too impure for the public, okay? I mean, they made a movie called American Pie. There is literally nothing too impure for this public. I'm just stuck on that. Is anyone swallowing that bull honky? I mean, seriously, guys, it's baloney. It's so ridiculous for them to say it's too impure for the public to hear. We've heard it all. There is quite literally nothing under the sun that we as society have not heard. This is such a farce. I can't believe they think anybody's going to believe that that would be why it's redacted. It's redacted because Epstein didn't kill himself. That's why. That's why it's redacted. Oh my gosh.
There's more to this. Supposedly, there are names that are redacted. Her own personal, adult, consensual things are on. honestly, I'm kind of sick of it all. I'm totally sick of it all. But knowing that these people are tied to the upper echelons of society, I'm just keep waiting for, okay, drop the names. Let's get it out there. We want to know who's been doing what. You know, Jeffrey Epstein had the stuff, the goods on people for a reason, and let's just get it out there. Be done with it. All right, so YouTubers, I want you to come with me. If you guys want to hear we took you down like a huge hill of like just insanity. But I'm gonna play the first thing I'm gonna play though when we say goodbye, and I'm sure I probably could play this, is Governor Ron DeSantis, who says that vaccine passports are a terrible idea and a state mandate is totally off the table. Totally off the table. So goodbye, YouTube, real quick. And we're going to get the ball rolling here.
All right. Now, yes, YouTube, we love you guys. You are fantastic. But go to resistancechicks.com.
Yeah.
And you can continue to watch us live on, I've got all the links there to Twitch, Facebook, DLive. And so follow us there, Resistance Chicks with the